This is another one. I'm going to leave this open too after the talk, and you can take yourself through them all. The last one was stretched onto canvas on oak stretchers, and this one is lives as a vector file. So I usually print them out onto museum etched paper or archival paper of some sort. But this is the same thing, but this is very micro. If you have a chance afterwards, I can zoom in on it for you. I know it's hard for most of you to see the detail from here, but I was working kind of on the 1/4 inch scale with basically pixel by pixel, and the same sort of rationale, sort of an improvised layer, a layer of structure, and on until there's almost a color that you can see from it. The last one that I was working on of these, I named it Adobe Illustrator Dogshit Brown, because and it was quite big. These are 30 by 40, and the rationale behind that title was if you're standing far enough from it, it's brown. As you walk closer to it, the piece opens up, and you can almost see the pores of it. This is another series. So I'm trying to simplify them to bring them into another medium and see what happens within that material and that medium. And also functional space. These are largely 2D, and I'd like to see them breathing more as maybe a fabric, or maybe even within a piece, a sound piece. This was another series. This leads me actually moving closer to the talk of my Stockholm trip and the importance that it meant to me and the importance of the trip itself. This was one of my best friends, pretty much my second father, Polish composer Zbigniew Karkowski. And I met Zbigniew just through his work. He was a very prolific noise artist. He lived in Japan with his girlfriend Natsuko, and he would tour every, I would say, 2 years with me, and we would get to catch up with life and records and sound and art and tour, usually just the East Coast. But he passed away tragically due to pancreatic cancer. But while I was in EMS in Stockholm doing the synthesizer research, I ran into Mats Lindström, who runs the EMS foundation, and he actually knew Zbigniew. So not only did this trip, mean that I could take back work and actually work with these incredible instruments, but I also got to learn of Zbigniew before he passed, and that was really special to me. This is sort of my sound art side of things, as a band that I was in by the name of WZT Hearts, pronounced Wet Hearts, and we put out several albums, and they're all just friends of mine who we would come together and make music together. This was just a recent show that we played this summer. Now this is Stockholm. So if you were to pan over here within Google Maps, you would take a bridge over this the brackish channel of water here, and then old Stockholm would be right here, sort of the center. And this was a little island right below it where I stayed during my trip to EMS. So I was staying in a little neighborhood by the name of Hornstull, and just so happened I found a place that was close enough for me to just walk to EMS. So every day I could just spend as much time as possible in the EMS studios, which was really convenient and nice. This was just along the walk. So EMS is this is on Södermalmsstrand, which is the really long path that you saw me taking to and from the studio. EMS was on the opposite side of this building, which is a large, it used to be a beer brewery and a bottling factory. This was another picture of the walk. This is the inside of EMS, and I'd just like to point out This is a cubby hole with everyone's shoes. So when you enter the studio, you take off your shoes, and it makes for a really nice, cozy feeling. I mean, I've never been in an electronic studio that, people take off their shoes, and it felt a bit weird at first, but it was really nice. And coat hangers and stuff. This was my second to last day there. And so the facilities are open 24/7, and it makes for a really amazing music community. This was taken, I would say, about 6 in the morning. I beat everyone in. But usually during the day, you'll see just local musicians talking about their work and exchanging ideas, and it was really amazing and healthy environment. And this is Henrik. He's one of, I think, 4 technicians at EMS, and he helped me greatly, recording all the technical aspects of my work while I was there. Behind him are units, recording units and instruments that local musicians will drop off or trade with EMS, and they have this sort of really nice sort of repair upgrading room. So to the left of Henrik and all over here are just broken instruments waiting to be fixed by them or upgraded. And so this is the Buchla modular synthesizer. This is one of 2 synthesizers that I was working with. Sort of a one-of-a-kind unit built, I believe, in the 60s, and don't quote me on that, but it's very old and it's vintage and largely, it's analog, so it's all hand-built. All the circuits behind these little modules that you see here in knobs, everything was put together by hand and soldered, whereas now you have mass-produced things that are just assembled on an assembly line. This thing here, I'd like to point out, is just all the patches. So this module here, which is this one here, is a time expansion compression unit. You would take the out of the audio that was generated in here, and you could then patch it anywhere you'd want to. So the possibilities were kind of endless, really. So every day I would do my best to try to generate some interesting sounds that I could use further in my work down the road. This was